So, this is Natasha with Books Go Social. We're here at the Dublin Writers Conference 2017. I have author Alan Gibson. Just going to ask you a couple quick questions. Starting out with, what genre do you write in and why? What inspired you to write that genre?
Well, first of all, my name is Alan Gibson, but I write under the name A.B. Gibson. And I chose that because it worked so well for J.K. Rowling. I figured,
Right.
Why not try it? And J.B. Fletcher, another one of my favorite authors, though she's fiction. Actually, the book that I finished was published is in the horror genre, although that's not what I'm writing currently. The reason why I wrote a book in the horror genre is because I took the advice of centuries of advice givers, which is write what you know. Okay, so how did I know about horror? Well, I happen to own a farm, and it's a farm that's open to the public. It's a place where people come to pick apples, and families come and they go through the corn maze, they go on hay rides. It's lots of fun. It's family friendly. Been around for a long time. It's enormously popular and reliable and trustworthy and wholesome. Okay, so in the evenings in October we have a scary hayride and a moonlight pitch black corn maze.
Nice.
And it's anything but wholesome. And so people go on the hayride and we take them out into our property and it gets very dark and very lonely. And then I have a whole bunch of college guys that are out there. There's a very tightly choreographed scenario, and people are startled. And the idea is to scare the hands off them. And so they do. They get startled. And in one case, some kids get up and they actually go onto the hayride and they grab somebody and pull them off and drag them into the cornfield. And then you hear the chainsaw and then screaming. And anyway, it's hysterical. Everybody loves it. Can't get it. All right. So I was on a plane to LA one day. I was picking my seatbelt. I said, I need to do something else with this farm. And I said, why don't I write a horror book? And I thought, what if the person that gets dragged off the wagon really does get her head?
Yeah.
And just never shows up at the end of the hayride. I was like, what would that be like? So anyway, immediately I came up with a story, and the house that we live on, which is our house we just lived in, became a B&B in the story, and bad things happened. Anyway, it was a really simple story, and it's funny. A lot of the people that come to our farm have bought the book, and they love it because they can see the farm in it. I mean, it's obviously fictional. Farm, but they love having sort of being there.
Right, yeah, experiencing the book in real life.
Absolutely.
So, if you're not writing horror anymore, what are you writing?
Well, I'm writing thriller.
Okay.
But, of course, they're going to be dead bodies.
Well, it's still a thriller.
It's still a thriller, right. But it's also kind of a write what you know thing. I'm a big fan of Midsummer Murders.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get enough. First of all, it's British, so,
Who doesn't love that?
Who doesn't
Yes.
love that, right. But, I live in a kind of a similar little bubble in the state that I live in, West Virginia, and it really lends itself to that kind of a scenario. So I have created my first thriller that takes place on the Appalachian Trail, which is a 21-mile hike that goes from Maine to Georgia. And Harper's Ferry, where I happen to live, is the midpoint of that trail, as it so happens. So it's very well known. It's an entry point for a lot of hikers. And many hikers, most all hikers who travel from one end to the other, get off at Harper's Ferry and restock, and there's a visitor center there where they can have their picture taken and there's albums. Anyway, it's a really interesting little place. And it's also a historic town on its own right, so it's well known and there's a lot of visitors to Harper's Ferry. So my book takes place on the trail, and in Harper's Ferry, in the town, and a character that I've created, two characters actually, are going to be ongoing characters in a series of books, and they're going to be based in Harper's Ferry, in the Shepherdstown area where I live. So anyway, it's going to be fun for that reason. The other thing about the Appalachian Trail is that hikers, serious hikers on the trail, have trail names.
Really?
One of the reasons people hike on the trail is to kind of leave behind their life and just disconnect. And when they're on the trail, they're in the present. They try to be in the present. So people don't talk about where they came from or who they knew, and any of that stuff, or what they're planning to do. It's all about right now. And the sights and sounds of the trail. But they all have these interesting trail names. Some of them are, fairly common, Strider or whatever. But other people have very interesting names that are given to them by other hikers, and they're based on sort of traits or quirks that you see. So somebody could do something really stupid, and so their trail name could become Einstein. Or there's a guy I just met who, for some reason, has got 3 pairs of shoes in his backpack, which is very unusual because they weigh a lot.
Right.
But anyway, so they call him Shoe Store. Names like that. So what's good about that is that in the plot of my story, which is actually quite dense and fairly, I think, sophisticated, many of the hikers in here have aliases because everybody has two names that they're working with. So it makes it complicated.
But that makes it fun.
And makes it a lot of fun, yeah.
Wow, all right. Well, have you finished writing that, or are you still working on it?
I have about 2 weeks left.
All right. So you have a launch date?
Well, it'll be, I would say, September, October.
All right. Well, where can we find out more about your books and you? Do you have like website, blog?
Well, I do have a website.
Okay.
It's abgibson.me and .me. And of course, I have a Twitter account. And,
all those. Okay. Fantastic. Well, can you tell us anything, maybe if you have a funny or strange story about marketing your book?
Well, I do. My career is advertising, and I'm my worst client ever. I don't follow any of the rules, and it's because I'm just terrible at marketing my own stuff. So, but I have had some really great book signings, and they've been tons of fun, and actually pretty well attended. I've sold a lot of books. One of my most favorite ones was with the legendary romance writer Nora Roberts, who happens to live about 18 minutes away from me. And she is so prolific, she does, I think, 6 book signings a year in her store in the little town that she almost owns. And she invited me one year to come a couple of years ago as a local author, and so she always includes a couple of local visiting authors. So I got to be in her store. I had my own table and my books, and the 500 or 600 people that came from all over the country to buy her books all filed past my table. And I sold a lot of books. I mean, I'm not a romance writer, and it's a different genre, but a lot of people said, "Hey, Nora Roberts says you can sign here. It's probably not a bad book." And so I had a blast because honestly, I first of all, it was a phenomenon because it started at 9 o'clock in the morning, but by 7:30 there was a line of people all the way around this.
Wow!
And they were there constantly until 5 o'clock. I mean, there was no break. Just people with shopping bags in both hands and loaded with books. I mean, this woman is a phenomenon, and it was just amazing to be in her presence that day.
Wow.
She signs so many books, she wears a wrist brace.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway.
She should just get a stamp. She did signature stamp,
No, the interesting thing about her is that, and I learned this, is that she gives everyone as much time as they want to. Because some of these people have been coming back for years, and they've come back 2-3 times a year.
Wow.
Because they want the next book. And they also now have met her enough times that they kind of feel like they know her.
Right.
And everybody wants to know, the star on TV and everything. But they talk, and she's very good with them, and she spends time, and
wow.
I'm sure she remembers many of them. I mean, it's been her business. So.
That is impressive.
It's amazing, but she has a team.
Of course.
She's got somebody here, and a team of cashiers over here, and somebody that her publicist is standing right next to her, sort of keeping. It's it's like I said, I can't overuse the word phenomenal.
All right. Well, just one last question then.
Sure.
How are you enjoying the conference?
I'm loving the conference. I kind of have been working in a little bubble, and so because I have so many other things in my life, I have a real job, and I run this farm, and at my advanced age, I just created a startup company, a tech startup company.
Right.
So I'm really scattered in a million ways. So I haven't really had taken the time to focus on being part of the writing community. I'm in a little writers group, but I'm not in a bigger one. And this has really been so exciting for me because I'm seeing people and watching their successes and learning from them and getting some resources. And I'm getting really supercharged. I'm all of a sudden I'm inspired again to crank out a few more books.
That is exactly what we want to hear. That is part of our goal here. All right. Well, thank you so much for
Social. I love the group. And, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.